Okay, now there's been a lot of innovation in the use of soft plastics in ice fishing. And there's one guy that knows a heck of a lot about soft plastics, Scott Brower. Scott, what do you got to tell us?
Thanks for stopping by the booth today. We're talking about plastics all weekend, and innovating plastics, I guess the first thing you need to kind of think about is why do you need a different piece of plastic? So the first thing that comes to mind is what you're trying to do with plastic is imitate what's already currently existing in the water table, and then give yourself more options as far as how do we mimic that best down at the point of contact with the fish. So that could be anything from the delivery system, which is a different jig that we would use to get it down there, as well as the shape of the plastic, and then also how the plastic imparts action on itself. Here's what you want to buy for yourself. You want to get yourself a piece of smart plastic. Anybody can make a piece of plastic that just goes down the hole and looks like something. But what you want to look for is, what does it do differently in my tackle box for me as a fisherman than anything else that's in there? Because otherwise you're just buying multiples of the same thing. Here's what I mean by that. Clam Pro Tackle, we came up with a couple of different new models this year. We wanted to go with a couple of minnow imitations because it's no secret. In the middle of the wintertime, bluegills, sunfish, panfish, and generally have bred in that August and September, had some babies, and there's year of young. That is a prey that even bluegills, large bluegills, will feed on in the December period of time. So we wanted to get a couple different minnow imitations. So the first one looks very much like a minnow. Now what we did with the mini is we took it and we made the tail a little bit different. So not only is it a vertical jig presentation, but if you flop it over on its side, it looks like a dead and dying minnow if you slow fall it going through the water system. The other thing that we did was we took what is essentially what walleye guys have been doing forever, and that is rip the head off of a minnow and then fish with the entrails, fish with the guts, the stuff that hangs out, the good stuff that the fish really like. And so with both of those two baits, we've come out with what we consider to be a pretty big winning combination. The one in the middle that I'm doing right here, that's the one. You can see the little tentacles that come off the backside. It's an action bait, meaning that when you're jigging it in the water table, it puts a lot of action, imparts a lot of action into the water. But in the same way, it looks like that entrail minnow. And then the other minnow, let me show it to you here. So here's the minnow. What we did with the minnow, and you can see how it rolls over on top of itself. The unique part of soft plastics, the hand-injected stuff, the stuff that's not production made, is the softness of the material. So your hold time with a fish will go up higher. What does that mean? That means it feels more natural in their mouth, so they'll eat it more naturally. So this minnow, when you hold it this way, or if you jig it this way, it'll swim differently and dart differently like a dead and dying minnow. And then again, I want to talk quickly about the minnow head, and that is these are the entrails that stick out the backside, a very good mimic. And then you can see when I hold it up the profile this way, you can see these undercut on the inside, and what that does is that actually, as you're jigging it aggressively, puts a rip on it and allows that thing to rip through the water like a minnow would as well. When you're looking for an innovative product, there's a couple things that are important. Number one, the feel of the rubber has to be right. Buy a good quality piece of rubber. Number two, when you're buying it, it should do something differently for you than anything else in your arsenal does, and then buy a decent amount of color selections, so on that weird day where a fish wants a certain color, you've got all those different options in your arsenal of tools that you can drop down that hole. That'll put more fish in your bucket, which makes us all happier fisher people.